Hi, this is Julie at Love's Beginning with a blog post called You Have Every Reason to Celebrate. And maybe before I do that, I should talk about again why I've been away from the blog for a while. I think I have. I haven't even kept track of time, but or looked at the dates. But I just think there's so much going on a personal level with deep cleansing and the things that we've relied upon for routine or meaning losing their meaning, but not in a way where we have lost anything, just in a way that lets everything be sorted out and calibrated and run not by habit and not by scrambling for, I don't know, continuity, control, but just by who we are, just allowing everything to come from who we truly are. And my experience is when I let go of an old layer of control, for a while things are not predictable, or it seems that there isn't much happening at all for a while, but I don't seem to mind that. For me, there are at least these periods of time when nothing matters the way it used to, and I may go through some very deep emotions too. And then there's like a resorting and a reset, refocusing. And I may go back to what I used to do or the way I used to do it, but it doesn't really have any meaning or significance. It's just the more important thing is where it's coming from. What's the purpose? What's the motivation? What's running things? Which is all about what this message is. So, if I disappear again, it's probably that happening again. And during those periods, sometimes I think, I wonder if I'll ever write again. But the writing really seems to be like a giant drill that drills down into what is still rigid and controlling and still fixed, still believing in the fantasy of this world, and breaks up the next layer. So I find it very, very helpful personally to receive the messages and to just kind of sit in them. So here's this one. You have every reason to celebrate. You seem to be subject to many conditions. The good news is that you aren't. You seem to be. When you attach to stories of how you are subject to the conditions of the world, you suffer. Even if there is a moment when you judge the conditions to be good, when they change, you are deciding in advance to be unhappy. Better not to judge the conditions at all. Notice how you allow judgments to tell you how you feel about conditions. You may think it is a condition itself that is the cause of discomfort, and it really seems that way. But it is always your judgment about an apparent condition that is the source of suffering. When you stop inviting suffering through judgment, you abide in the joy and ease that is always alive and vibrant underneath. Who you are isn't the character that is moving through a story. All of the judgments you make and believe are about the character and the story. You are using a body to communicate, and the context in which you are communicating is a story. While the body and the story are not real, what you can communicate is real. What you are is real. You are love, joy, peace, ease, and truth, and that is what you can communicate. You can turn the trajectory of the character over to who you truly are to run. You can turn the whole of the story over to who you truly are, so it can be brought to a joyful conclusion. When your purpose is to allow the character and the story to be run by who you are, there is no need for judgment. One of the ways humans spend clock time as they believe they are running their stories is to evaluate characters. The character you are playing cannot be evaluated. No character can be evaluated except to say, you are innocent, you are beautiful, you are pure. Simply notice. When you notice that you are evaluating any character as better or worse than any other character, simply remind yourself, this is not possible. I am caught up in fantasy. There is only one evaluation that can be made: innocence. When you look at the story next to this one possible evaluation, it makes no sense. That's true. There is no sense in it, but the ego will tell you how very sensible and logical it all is. Remembering that there is no sense and no stability in the story through which your character moves, the only option you have is to allow yourself to be guided through this fantasy by who you really are. Who you really are has never been limited by all the limits that seem so real in the fantasy. You need the unlimited to guide you through the fantasy of limitation. What you are prior to all characters. This means that what everyone else is, that's also prior to all characters. To judge a character in the story is to judge what isn't. If you can keep the awareness of who everyone is active as you seem to move through a fantasy with very believable limits, you will be open to the guidance that leads you happily and safely through it. What truly is, that's prior to all characters and all stories. This is why you have every reason to celebrate. Whenever you believe that there is no reason to celebrate, you look upon limitations and believe they are real. We invite you to look through limitations and know that unlimited power is exactly what you are, what everyone else is. If you keep this knowledge strong in your awareness, when faced with a seeming limit, you will go straight to the guidance that is always there for you. Guidance will always show you that real seeming limits have no power at all. What you truly are is stronger than anything that pretends to be real. So remember as you walk through the fantasy that you have always had every reason to celebrate. Everything is on your side, and nothing real is working against any being playing a role here. You are all safe, loved, and cherished forever. It is always our delight to assist you. Thanks for listening.